No, you're not seeing things here, ladies and gentlemen. We have a real treat. Now, I know our guest does a slew of these different podcasts and these different interviews, and I know that he's going to certainly either think I'm nuts or he might actually say, boy, he'll give me some vocal tips like Doug Pinnick of King's X did last time I spoke with him. But it is never enough when we get an opportunity to speak with a man that has quite a past. Not so much a checkered past because his new album has got plenty of leopard skin. Black Diamonds, we'll get into some of those famous cuts. The Ballad of Jane, it'll be that type of interview here. But I know I've only got X amount of minutes. Usually I do this long, blown out introduction, but I know our guest is getting ready to go out on the road. And there is a lot of dates. And there's even one date not too far from me in my neck of the woods. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. We definitely won't have any Waking the Dead with this one because as I know Mike Chat is waiting for it, he's going to say, wow, okay, this one was different. So ladies and gentlemen, it is a real treat to introduce this man, a worldwide artist from the legendary band L.A. Guns, which of course everybody remembers their historic self-titled album, Cocked and Loaded, millions of records sold, Hollywood Vampires, to their latest album, which, oh, by the way, just hit number 44 on the current charts of the Billboard 200 top album sales. Yeah, that's a thing. We'll get into it. But ladies and gentlemen, as in the famous words of a man that he knows pretty well that he opened for, Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get rocked here tonight on Sportzwire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one cable sports show, the man that is the front man for one of the premier groups that came out of the 1980s and the Sunset Strip, LA Guns. His name is simply put, Phil Lewis. My friend, how are we doing?
My God, that's quite an intro. Let me tell you, that was what that 2.5 minutes.
You're lucky because I do a lot of wrestling, and the reason I'm connected with you because I've had on the WWE, and usually when we do the
Yeah,
WWE guys go on, I actually go on for 6-7 minutes. But I know you're a rock star; you've got a lot of stuff to get.
yeah. No, I was no, it was great. I appreciated it. That was very nice.
Yeah.
I'm flattered.
Mark
But
Farner of
yeah,
Grand Funk Railroad was like, "Wow, that was different." I had Doug Pinnick, who I mentioned, said, "Boy, you're going to turn into James Hetfield when you get older." And then I had Randy Jackson of Zebra, who looked at me like, "Yeah, that was different." And then I had on Brian Damage Foresight of Kicks, and was like, he just kept nodding his head. So it's been a gauntlet of different bands I've had the opportunity to, and I want to thank all of my supporters, especially in the wrestling world, but. Mr. Lewis, no, you're not Johnny Wishbone, but we are certainly wishing upon a star to talk with you. And for those that are listening and watching here, Mr. Phil Lewis of LA Guns, talk about the new album, talk about the response, and what's it like so far in hearing the reception of the album?
all right. Well, first of all, during your intro, you were saying that I do dozens of these podcasts. Actually, I don't. I stopped after the last record because it just became
Big, too big.
really repetitive. I was talking about the
I
same
listened to
things.
like 17 of them. It was like the same thing. That's why I said you've done a
Yeah.
lot of them. Yeah.
So, for this album, I kind of stayed back a little bit and I let Tracy do it because it was so much more. He really had a handle on it right from the beginning, and
Yeah.
I could talk a little bit about like the the vocals and the lyrics and this, but it was, I wanted him to do it, and he really enjoyed doing it. So I've kind of come out of from underground to do this. I said that, we got some shows coming up, and I'd be happy to promote those. But after an intro like that, how can I disappoint you? I'm happy to talk about anything you like, and I'm extra happy to talk about this fantastic new
It's
record we put
great,
out.
by the way, the new album. The new album, I bought the record. I've been listening to it for 3 months. It's about just about 3 months, and the album is fantastic.
Yeah, it's got like most of our albums, it's got a little bit of everything. There's something for everyone in there. There's balls to the wall, metal, like the opening song, Taste It.
Yep.
We got the obligatory tearjerker ballad
Yeah.
in there, Masquerade,
Yeah.
and a whole bunch of other, and even if you will, a little bit of bluegrass.
Yes, I
Uh,
did hear that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which I'd never done before, never expected. But honestly, I completely left it to Tracy. I said, whatever you want to do, whatever style, whatever thing, like you will turn whatever ideas you've got into a song, and we'll make a great album. And I think we pretty much done that. It's hard to pick a favorite song. There's a song that is really blowing up is a song called "Hit and Run."
Yeah. Oh, you've been playing that live. I noticed you
Yeah,
played that live
and
in the
and
earlier dates so far.
yeah, and that's doing gangbusters. That's going down really well. I think that's a good song because it appeals to everyone. It's got a little kind of a Chris Isaac vibe to
Yeah.
it. It's sparse, and it's somehow current. Um, with I don't know what the kids are listening to today. But yeah, it's that's a great track. It turned out great, and it's great live. It goes down good live, and very different. And we've always been that band. We've always been, the band that comes out with, every song is a little bit different. You get bands like AC/DC or Metallica. Every song is
I
great,
know it's the
but
same
it's
three chords, same.
pretty,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. And I've got nothing against that. It's just not our thing. I think we did it again. We are definitely on a roll. We're 10 years into our reunion. Tracy and I buried that hatchet about a decade ago. I can't believe how quickly the time has gone.
You guys have put out 5 records since then too.
And well, yeah, I
Crazy.
mean, we've been keeping busy. We've done countless tours, and we're always in the studio. We're always writing and recording. And like I said, I see it as kind of like a second honeymoon. When I first joined the band, when Tracy first invited me to join the band in 87, 86, when I first joined, our connection was so close, and then the business and
Yeah.
relationships and whatever, we kind of drifted apart, and we drifted very, very far apart. And we ended up falling out. Um, just to recap, for people that might not know. And we didn't talk to each other for something over 10 years. And then one day I was invited to do a charity gig, and the guy were putting it on together. Oh, by the way, Tracy's going to be doing it too. And I thought, fuck, I haven't spoken to that. I haven't seen him in so long. But I wasn't going to puss out. It was a charity. And I was like, yeah, okay. I was a bit nervous about it, to be honest,
Sure.
because it had been a
Sure.
while. And we got together, man. The chemistry was just right. I mean, we just like, it didn't take long, like an old shoe, we just fell right back into a groove. And I love the guy. And we're very different. We are the odd couple. There's no question about it. But in our defense, we have more similarities than differences. We grew
Yeah.
up with the same music. We grew up, like with the whole vinyl, and our influences are very parallel. And so we kind of embrace each other's individuality, and actually encourage it. And as I said, the album, that the songs keep coming, and the team is fantastic. We have a brilliant team. The band is absolutely on fire. We got great producer. I work with a guy called, I've always said, Mitch Davis. I always mention him in interviews. And each album just feels like a little bit better, better than the last one. And in a time when our peers are reluctant to do anything new for
Yeah,
good
I've had a
reason.
number of bands on here, and it's. I had Mark Kendall of Great White, and they haven't put out
Yeah,
music in years, and they're trying to figure it out. Like I said, Randy Jackson of Zebra, they just put out their first song in 20 plus years, and
yeah,
you guys, it's 5 albums in the last almost 8 years, and which I
right.
think is so fascinating is because when everybody talks about self-titled, cocked and loaded Hollywood vampires, but right now the band is more prolific than it was in the heyday. I think that that's the most fascinating thing because there's no band from your era, from your peers, that has been as prolific the last decade. And I think that's a testament to not only yourself and Tracy getting back together, but the entire band for putting out music and it's still
Yeah,
relevant.
yeah. No, it's great. And I think the reason we would have been as prolific back in the day, but we were part of the big sausage machine, part of the big
Yeah.
corporate. Um, we're doing everything now, sort of pretty much independent. The labels. First we were on Frontiers for a while, and now we're on. I'm delighted to say that we're on
Cleopatra.
Cleopatra. We're
Yeah.
back with Brian and company.
Who did some
And
work for you guys back in the day. He did some
oh,
of your stuff.
we yeah, we've been so close with Brian for decades, and he's a good friend, and he's just like, run with it, guys. Do whatever you want.
And
Just
the fans are running with it because look at the when it debuted on the albums charts. You're ahead of. Speaking of current, Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo. Not too bad. So apparently, people are still buying your music, and people still want to hear it. And I think that that's a testament to the fact that the album sounds great, and you guys are. I really think hitting your stride, and where we're going to see you guys here coming up next. I think congratulations on the success of the album. Really.
well, thank you very much. It's like all the records, as you say, have been really well received. From the very first one, The Missing Piece, The Devil, and they're very different. Those early ones were very heavy. We were, I think we had a lot of angst we wanted to get out, and had great fun doing it. I like dressing up as the devil and
You'd
being
fit in the
ridiculous.
wrestling world, I have a lot of the WWE guys coming. You'd really be fitting in with that,
uh,
I will let
I
them know. I'll
I
let
know
them
I
know.
do I do I do love that. What those guys really know how to put on a show. And have you spoken to Ripper Owens, of course?
I have not, but I obviously am very aware of him. He has not yet come onto my
Oh
platform,
yeah,
but
I'm gonna put a good word in for you with him,
I
because he's all into that. He's into that whole his buddies are
I'm
wrestlers, and
probably friends with like 1,000 wrestlers, no joke. So they've all.
yeah,
I don't even have
yeah.
to try. So that's the reason your manager actually connected with me. It was just out of the blue, and they seen my stuff out there with them.
Yeah. No, I think you'd really enjoy talking to him. He's an amazing guy. He's a great, and he's got great stories. And
Yep.
we
Yeah.
toured with him last year. He was with
Yep.
KK Priest, and it was a delight. And actually did some shows with him when he was in Priest a few years
Yeah.
back,
Yeah. I
like
think you guys were on the demolition tour with them, if I recall
yeah,
correctly.
yeah, and so he's a lovely guy, and speaking of wrestling, and he's fit and he's into
Yeah,
all of
I've
that.
seen. I've definitely seen. But speaking of fit, I'm going to put the poster up here for a minute. You guys have a bunch of tour dates here coming up, which I mean,
Yeah,
you guys are, listen, some of these bands go out there. I had, with all due respect, I had Mark Kendall, a Great White, and they're these fly-in bands. You guys are like back on the bus, and you guys are like everywhere here coming up. And I have the poster for it. And I mean, let's
yeah.
talk about these dates here because
All
I'm
right, I'm
excited
glad.
about a bunch
Okay,
of them.
first of all, I'm glad that you point out that we're not weekend warriors,
No.
and once again, there's nothing wrong with that, but we are like proper
Look
proper
at this.
band.
You guys are going to be playing 100 shows by the end of next year. I already counted the
I
amount
think
of
I
dates
think
that
we've
you
already
have.
done. I think we've already done half of that already. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we just had June off, and now we're getting right back into it. And we I know we're pretty much busy all the way up until October, and that's the way we like it. So yeah, we like to get on the bus, and we like to say goodbye to our wives and girlfriends, and just disappear for 6, 7 weeks. And I'm not going to say that every minute of it is blissful. It's not, but it's just great, man. It's just like to be immersed and to be with your with your mates, making the music that you love doing, and we've been doing pretty good. You know, the shows have been very well attended, and you know, our fans now, they're a lot more affluent than they used to be. They're pretty rich,
I won't tell
and
my mom that, who's a big fan of you. My mom's a singer actually, and she sings, and she's actually sang a few of your songs in the past, the Ballad of
oh,
Jane. And
that's fantastic.
yeah, she sings, and I was probably conceived to one of your
Oh
songs.
my, that's fantastic.
But,
What a great.
obviously, you guys have, really, to me, are hitting your stride in these dates. Yeah, I mean, the fans, you guys are kind of, I think, playing some of the bigger places you've played on tours these last few years. You guys are playing in theaters, couple thousand here,
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
thousand there, and that's got to be a good feeling for you guys.
Well, it is a good feeling, you know, because a lot of the places that we played recently, we'd played before with Tom Kiefer,
Yep.
and they were pretty big rooms, pretty big theaters, and we were delighted that when we did our own shows earlier this year, we were back at the same venues but by ourselves, headlining. Um, so that's a great feeling. That you know the rooms that saw us opening for Tom took a chance, said, "Yeah, these guys are great. These guys can do it. These guys can bring in their own crowd," and yeah, I'm real proud of that. That's what we did, and we continue to do, and that's what makes it worthwhile. I don't know. I don't think I'd really like to leave on Friday and then have to be back on Monday morning. You know, come back on Monday.
Yeah.
it breaks the stride. I like doing it this way. We're on our wagon, and we've all got our own spot, and we've all got our own um,
That's how it is in
things.
wrestling. Guys go out on the road and you don't see them for what's exactly. You guys really do fit in with all the wrestlers I have on my
Is
platform
that
because
right?
that's kind of how it
Yeah,
goes.
I'm
Yeah, they
sure
go
because
out
it's
and
touring. It's
yeah, you're
touring,
just
isn't it?
going out, you're going show to show, and you're living that
Yeah,
life. And I think that's kind of helped the band and I think because people are going out to see you guys, it promotes the album. You're with Tom Kiefer. Obviously, you
yeah,
have some other dates on your own as well.
yeah,
And I think it's exciting to see. And I think Tom Kiefer obviously is a guy that's had, certainly some success recently with his own solo album. Obviously, we know him from Cinderella. And I think it's a good fit. I think, especially with the new album, because it's such a blues based album.
yeah,
And
sure.
Tom's
Well,
always been a
yeah.
blues guy.
Yeah, Tom's great. His band are great. Our guitar player Ace lives in Nashville, with same town as Tom and most of his band. So they hang out all the time. So it's very family oriented when we all get together. There's no, oh, that's Tom's room and you guys got to stay over there. It's one big happy band, you know, and I do get a kick though when every now and then we're doing a sound check, and if we bust out something bluesy, it doesn't take long before Tom sticks his head out the door and checks us out, and and you know what a great compliment, you know. There's fucking
Yeah.
Tom Kiefer checking us
Oh
out,
yeah. I mean, yeah.
jamming over here, and he's
That's
such a nice guy, you know. He's real low key, he's quiet, but you know he's got great personality, uh, but you kind of have to draw it out of him a little bit and
well.
watching, you know, free Tom Kiefer show every night is a bonus too. His wife's
Absolutely.
fantastic, his band's great. Yeah, it's a great match. We've done numerous runs together now, and I hope we continue to do so.
So do I, and I do want to promote also. If you want to buy some tickets, go to lagunsmusic.com. Check the band out on Instagram, and we have some local shows here in the California area. First of all, coming up next Wednesday, they'll be at the Nile Theater in Bakersfield. They'll also be at the legendary Whiskey A Go Go. Of course, we all know the whiskey if we're rock and metal fans. That'll be a back-to-back on the 18th and the 19th. That's a Friday, Saturday show. St. Charles in the Arcadia Theater. My friend Mark Farner just plays there right before these guys go out there. They've got a bunch of dates, and I'm in New York City. They'll be playing not too far from us here, coming up in Patchogue in Long Island, also Cataract, New Jersey. So a number of different great shows. Check the band out here at lagunsmusic.com. Also Instagram, Facebook. We're here for a few more minutes with the legendary Phil Lewis, who's the front man of the band. The band is out now touring for its new album, Leopard Skin, which just debuted number 44 on the Billboard 200 current charts for top album sales, and a tremendous accomplishment. Congratulations to the band. My
Thank
name is
you.
the Reverend Tom Bryce. Yep, your voice.
Thank you,
Figurative
Tom.
liberty. Yep, yep. You
Thank you,
got it.
Tom.
Yep.
Yeah, they're good rooms. They're really good, and it's great to play the whiskey. We play 2 nights at the whiskey every year.
Yeah,
Actually, we
I
end up
just had
playing
King's
three
X on. They
nights.
just played
Yeah,
there also the whiskey. So
yeah, and we've done New Year's there now for the last 4 years, and that's just a blast, and it's a great compliment.
absolutely. Yeah.
When the whiskey, like the most notorious uh, live venue that's been around for as long as it has, comes to us and says, "Would you like to do our New Year's Eve party?" Even once, it's a compliment. But we've done it numerous times, and always look forward to it. It always goes well. And some of the other rooms you mentioned too, the Arcadia.
Yep.
Now these are shows that we're going to be doing by ourselves. We're going to be joining up with Tommy later in the year, more towards the fall.
And
We've
you
still
guys are
got.
playing a show on the 25th with Ricky Rocket of Poison, Rocket Mafia.
Oh
You guys
yeah, that's
I have the
right.
poster for that. Yep. I have the
Yeah,
poster.
so yeah, the Rocket Mafia, and I've met Ricky briefly, backstage, when we've done stuff. But Tracy and him
They have
are
some
pretty.
history together.
Yeah, they're pretty tight. They've worked together, and Tracy and him put some. I think Rock City Devil Angels, or so, I can't remember what it was
Yeah.
called. But yeah, so it'll be good, and I look forward to getting to know him better. He's a great guy. He's a great
Yeah.
drummer. He's got,
Really.
he's just got a real up vibe about him, and I like to be around that. And I know some of the guys in his band. I think we're going to have a great time.
I think it's going to be a great show, and I'm looking forward to it. I want to ask you this question. I want to give the band something in a minute, but I get a lot of up and coming wrestlers on here. I get different people on here, and I never hear anybody ask you this question. But if you had any advice for anybody that's up and coming, whether it's a musician, performer, whatever it is, what advice would you give them?
Well, in a creative environment, advice about
Just going out
you
there and trying to achieve
making.
their dream. Yeah.
Well, the advice that I never took to myself. Like you should have some kind of a backup. I never had a backup, um, but yeah, I mean, in hindsight, there were some times when things weren't that consistent. That just be aware that when you're starting out, it's going to be sporadic. You're going to be really busy, and then you're going to go sit through fucking excruciating lengths of time between shows, and you'll go crazy. You'll think that's it. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And a lot of self-doubt. But stick with it, and it's really important to remember the joy that each gig gives you, each profound communion, if you will. Uh, you're with your band. You're in another city. You're playing your music to people that don't really know, and that's just such a great feeling. And never forget that. And I never did. I've never forgotten. How what a charge I get from it. I'm nervous. I'm so nervous before I go on. I
They say
still
that's a
get.
good thing, though. They say that's a
Yeah,
good thing.
I still get it, and Steven Tyler's famous for saying, "Embrace the butterflies."
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Tom. when
What?
I'm on stage, after like a minute or two into the first song, I'm more relaxed, I'm more calm, I'm more focused. It's like a Zen thing for me to be in that position. And then I come off stage afterward. I was like, what the fuck was I worried about? I'm always doing that, and I won't change. It's always going to be that way. But yeah, just enjoy the aspects of it, and don't forget, what your your sole objective. If your objective is, well, I want to be a rock star and make lots of money, there's not much I can tell you.
Yeah, I mean,
But
yeah, it's not what it
if you
was.
want to embrace like a bohemian lifestyle and an alternative way of life, and be an artist, I can talk about that for hours. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
just stay true to the craft.
yeah, but and what songs are you looking forward to performing most from the new album? Because two of my favorite songs, for whatever reason, is "The Grinder." I don't know what it is, but that blues, like your vocals come in on that
Yeah,
song, and there's just
yeah.
something about that song. Like, what are some of the songs before I let you go here from the new album? Another one I love is "I'm Your Candy Man." I don't know why,
I
but
love
that's
that. Yeah.
that
Okay.
song. Something
Yeah.
about that.
Okay. Well, as I said, we're doing Hit and Run, and we've done. We are talking about doing Candyman because it's such a great song.
Oh my god, that song is
Um,
like
the other one that we did, I can't think of it at the moment.
Lucky MFer, Taste
Oh
It.
yeah, Lucky Motherfucker. That's a
Yeah.
great song.
What a yeah,
Yeah. Da, da,
yeah.
da, 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 da. Yeah. 'Cause
Such a
you're a
catchy song.
lucky
That is
motherfucker.
such a catchy radio song. Such a like, but it still
Yeah.
sounds like you guys, you know?
Yeah, no, that's great. So we're doing those two. We're debating. I mean, hell, Tom, we'd like to do them all, but time is limited,
Some bands
and
do that. I mean, Dream Theater's out and they're coming back and doing their whole new album that came out.
yeah,
Maiden is
no, yeah,
famous for we gotta do the whole new album. You know, I remember
yeah,
when Rush did their last tour for their last record before Neil Peart got
yeah.
they did the whole album. I mean, I
See,
think it's a
that's
challenge.
Tom. Tom, that's higher brow stuff.
Yeah.
Those guys. We're on a different level. If we don't do Ballad of Jane and Electric
I know,
Gypsy,
I know.
they're not going to let us out that room. We're not going to let us
Yeah,
out the theater.
I
We
know.
have to do those songs, and we love to do those songs because they put us on the map. But yeah, our biggest challenge is time,
Yeah.
and
I hear that a lot.
especially
I hear that a lot.
especially when we're like in an opening slot with Tom. We got 60 minutes, and we've really got to fill it with stuff that the fans want and stuff we want to do. We got to work out a compromise.
Sex
I know.
Action, Electric Gypsy. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Ballad of
you get
Jane.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And absolutely essential. It's like,
It's
you
hard.
can't.
It's hard because
Yeah.
you wanna play like half the record, but you've only got
Yeah,
an hour,
right. Can you
like
imagine
12 songs. Yeah.
Billy Joel not doing Piano Man? Come on.
Yeah, you gotta play the 5 or 6 songs that, people know, but, I have something for you before I let you go in a few minutes because, I've noticed that nobody's done this for you guys, and I do things a little differently here because for those that are listening and watching, I put you guys in the Hall of Fame. My Hall of
Oh,
Fame, the Sportswire
I can
Radio Hall
see
of Fame.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Uh,
Tom. That's
yep. Yep.
fantastic.
Yeah, I figured why not? I mean, Mark Farner's in the Hall of Fame, and I put him in, and I put
Great,
you in there.
great.
So, definitely
Well,
thank you for all you guys do.
you're very welcome. I hope we're going to see you. You're going to come out to this show, right? In
Yeah,
Long Island.
I think the one either the 3rd or the 9th, because the 9th is in Patchogue, which I'm in New York City, and then the 3rd
Yeah.
is in October, which is Carteret, New Jersey. So one of those dates will probably be the shows that I was talking to your manager about that.
Right. Well, you'd be very welcome, Tom. I look forward. We'll take some
Yeah,
pictures together and
absolutely.
continue our conversation.
Absolutely, definitely. I'm very excited about that. And also, if you want to go out and buy a ticket, lagunsmusic.com. Also, Instagram, Facebook. You can check out the band. The band has a brand new album out now, Leopard Skin. which is out. It's out via Cleopatra Records. You can go to their website, also the band's website. It's on Amazon, and it's doing very well out there. So please go out there and support the band. And the band has had an amazing run. And you think about what this band, by the way, before I let you go, I have to tell you one story. When I was a kid back in the day, and my friend in high school, his name was Jesus, they called Jesus. And he, for whatever reason, used to always talk about the LA Guns album, Hollywood Vampires. For whatever reason,
Yeah.
he was this goth kid, and he always dressed like a goth with the trench coat, but he always carried, for whatever reason, the LA Guns Hollywood Vampires album on him. And then that was my first memory of the band. Then I realized, oh, my mom sings, and I was probably, like I said, conceived to one of your songs.
No, what a
You know,
wonderful
but,
story.
yeah.
We are a bit goth. I'll take that.
Yeah,
I
it was
will.
just weird. He wasn't like, he was the one kid that I hung out with of the rock kids that actually was like, he knew LA Guns. It was like, it was
Yeah.
weird because but he knew them. And that was like, I was like, okay, I got to be into the band. And then obviously I went
Right.
back and bought the catalog, obviously
Yeah.
all the
I
albums.
think
And,
I think I think goth is a word that says like mysterious, a little
yeah.
bit edgy, a little
But
bit
that's kind of what
different.
you guys have always been. You've never, to me, fitted in, with a lot of these bands, even
We
the
we 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 we're not that metal band.
No, but I think, listen, before I let you go, the new album has that touch to it.
Yeah.
You've always had some punk, you've always had some blues, some rock, some metal. It's
Yeah,
always a
no,
blend of everything.
that's what makes the world go round. It's variety. It's really important.
And definitely do that. And also, I did want to point out before I let you go, today is the 33rd year anniversary of you guys opening for AC/DC on the Razor's Edge tour, which I did want to point that out. So you guys had, it was the 33-year anniversary. You were on that tour, and
Yeah.
it was a great, great moment. And
That's scary. That's a lifetime
33 years
ago,
ago.
isn't it?
And that same year, later on, you were on another one of my favorite albums, the Slave to the Grind tour. You were on that tour.
Oh, I love those guys too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, Sebastian and I are still really good friends, and we're still friends with the band, and we do shows with them occasionally whenever we get a chance. Our paths cross. It's always great. But wow, yeah, it's scary to think that that was that long ago. There are people that were born then that are in their mid-30s now.
Well, I mean, you're looking at one of them, but
I know.
obviously,
Look at you, right?
but
Yeah.
it was an amazing time. Obviously, again, you were on the Hysteria tour, the Razor's Edge tour, the Slave
Yeah,
to the
no, we
Grind
did great.
tour.
Yeah, we've been on some fantastic tours, and with the I can't really think of any tours that we did that weren't amazing. I think we did some shows with Billy Squire that didn't go too well, and then
Wow.
we got a fist fight with Vinnie Vincent's Invasion. But apart from that, everything's been great.
Now, you guys have had a great run. The new album is out now. I have the tour dates up. And is there anything else you want to say, sir, about
No, thank you, Tom. It's fun talking to you, and thank you for that introduction. I'm
I would have did it longer, but I know I'm on a timer, and I want to thank Sky Nichols for the
Well,
opportunity.
now I know what to expect next time we talk.
Yeah,
But
well, listen, everybody else, listen, I got you off the hook a little easy because usually I do them longer. So, but
all right,
obviously,
Tom,
that is
that's
Phil
great.
Lewis of LA Guns. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please follow the band, lagunsmusic.com. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook. My name is the Reverend Tom Brice, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all music and wrestling matters. And thank you. And the band will be resuming their tour coming up next Wednesday. They'll be at the Whiskey the following week, back-to-back shows. More tour dates to follow with Tom Kiefer, of course, the legendary band Cinderella. And they'll be out with Rocket Mafia here coming up July 25th.
Excellent. I think that covers it nicely.
That's it. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one.
Thank you, Tom. Talk soon.
We'll talk soon, and have a great night, everybody.